Today on the pod, we've got a pet food and dog training business. It's one business owner with two brands. One's fairly established, one is very new, launched this year. They're on the podcast to talk how can they increase their brand awareness. We've had a little pre-chat and I've already got some fantastic ideas. This can be a great conversation. Let's get into it. Welcome to Grow with Evergreen, the podcast designed to help you grow your business by providing practical insights into all things paid media, creative and digital strategy. Every episode, we help home, garden, and lifestyle brands with their growth challenges by delving into their business, dissecting what they're doing, and defining a digital growth strategy they can take and deploy into their business. Let's get into it. Right, welcome back, beautiful people. I hope everyone is doing well. The sun is shining outside. Today is a Friday. It's the end of the week, and it is a bank holiday on Monday. Did you know that? We keep forgetting.
I keep forgetting, yeah. I mean, it's going to be a nice long weekend for a lot of people.
Yes.
Hopefully the sun holds out.
Well, there you are. There you are. It's going to be good fun. How's your week been? Good?
It's been good. It's been busy.
You are. Do you know what? I tee that up because you are working on something, which we can't actually reveal. We were just saying before we come in, we said, can we share this? Can we share this? But I don't think we can.
We can hint at it.
We can hint at it. Go on.
We can say that we're having a lot of fun with a project that is mainly for socials. Yeah. More than anything else.
Yeah, it really is. It's a bit of,
It's
very creative project. And we create a lot of content. We like to have a lot of fun with what we're doing. And we had this idea. Where did we initially have the idea?
We had the idea.
We were in the car.
We were on our way to doing another secret project.
Yeah. We've got a few projects on the way, haven't we? Just little things where, Yeah,
putting me and Aaron in a small space together for an extended period of time is a recipe for one, ideas, but two, disaster.
Great. Yeah, it is. But yeah, we did that. That was it. So we had. Hold on, sorry. So, but yeah, we were in the car and we're having this, and the cogs start turning. And one thing we're quite good at, we bounce off each other really well, is storytelling. We're quite good at that. And so when one of us will have an idea, and then we'll message the other one, or we'll be talking, and then it just blossoms and blooms very quickly. But yeah, we're teasing this. We can't say too much about it, but we've basically said we want to do some things that are a bit different and just have a proper fun. But it is, you're absolutely right. It is pure social. There is no commerciality to this.
This is purely from just pure fun.
Just make people laugh.
It is.
And I think we'll see. Hopefully it'll work. Yeah. But we're teasing. We better stop. We've got to move on because they're going to be like, would you just shut up and tell us? We just tell us what it is, but we can't. So, but we will. You'll see it. If you follow our stuff.
Very soon.
Well, we can use that as actually a call to action. Say, follow our stuff. Subscribe on YouTube.
Yes.
Follow us on YouTube's probably the best place for this.
Yeah, but then I don't know if this is actually going on YouTube.
Oh, it will go on YouTube.
Okay.
Oh, it's definitely going on YouTube.
Decision's been made.
Yeah, it will go on YouTube. But and on Instagram and Facebook and all of the... It's going to be a social thing. So follow us on socials and you will definitely see it. And hopefully it'll bring a smile to your face.
And I might even do a bit of a behind the scenes video on it.
Okay.
I've been thinking about it. This is new. So he gave me some news. I gave him some news.
There you go. Now, one thing I do want to mention is we've introduced very recently a new segment, which is at the end of the podcast. So for those of you that don't stick around to the end, what are you doing? You're missing out. Yeah. But right at the end of the pod, we have a new segment called Paid Media Problems.
Yes, we do.
And what we're now doing, and consider this. There it is. Oh, he's hinting at it. But what it is it's a new segment where we ask our viewers, our listeners, to write in essentially with a paid media problem. So it's very specific that you're struggling with. And so here's the call to action. So if you have got a paid media problem, something that you're stuck with, that you're grappling with, how, why, where, when, who, ping it in. You can email hello@theevergreenagency.co.uk. That lands straight on my desk. And then we'll make a note of it, and then we'll bring it onto the episode, and I'll try and do my best to answer it. A little new segment, and we're just going to roll that out. But we bring it in at the end of the episode, and we've already now had, I think we've got half a dozen already that we've got in. We're doing one an episode, and then see how it goes. It's good.
So make sure you stick around.
Yeah, there you go. It's going to come at the end. Now, before we bring our guest on and we get into this, just want to really quickly share. And in fact, no, do you know what? I'm very mindful. Our guest is on a certain amount of time today before they've got to shoot off. And I've got some key things. So I'm going to save that. We're doing multiple episode recordings today. So I'm going to save that for the next one. There you go. Okay. Right. There you go. There's a little Google of I'll tease it again. start this episode with one big tease. Google have just released a big update around AI and how it uses it. And
you're going to have to wait a whole week until you hear Aaron talking about this.
In the next episode, I'm going to give you my perspective on this and what matters for small businesses. There you go. So given all the reasons.
But it's a cracker. Speaking of animal crackers.
Isn't he good? Yeah, Animal Crackers is the brand today. Well, we've got two. So it's one. Michael's our guest, and we'll bring him on shortly. But he's got two businesses, two brands. One's called Animal Crackers, or acrackers.co.uk. Mm-hmm. When I first saw this come through, I was like, A-Crackers. I was like, what on earth is that?
Yeah.
But Animal Crackers, and then the other one, which that is a pet food store essentially in Hampshire, and all sorts of what you would expect from a pet store. Then the other brand business is just the newer one, is called Cantons Field Focus. And again, not giving much away by the name, but essentially that is dog training and psychology. So if you want to get your pets on the silver screen, these are the guys to go to that can train your pet. And we were talking in the pre-chat about, and he's got all sorts of stories and examples of what he's done and all these.
Unfortunately, a lot of it is he can't.
He does a lot of celebs, but he can't tell us who because it's all under NDAs.
We tried.
We tried for you, dear viewer, but he can share some stories. He was telling us some great stories, so we'll get into a bit of that. But principally, he's it's brand awareness, isn't it? But do you want to just give us some of the sort of facts and figures?
I'll do a quick run through on these. So he has 2 team members, so it's a small team.
Yep.
We always ask 3 marketing challenges rather.
Yep.
First one, spreading awareness, pet nutrition.
Yep.
Second one is dog human communication, which I was just imagining some sort of like telepathy helmet or something, and you sort of read your dog's minds. But maybe I can do that in my own time. But I'd be curious to see what he means when he expands on that.
Yeah.
Third marketing challenge is supporting independence, which is a very noble thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Because there are a lot of independent
in this space
brands out there.
Massively.
Yeah,
I was working on a project yesterday actually in this sort of space, and there are a lot of independents. Yeah.
What marketing platforms are they currently using? They say Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
What's their current marketing spend?
0. Not doing
big
any
0.
Ads. Yeah.
Where do you want the business to be in a year? Further growth and development, which is kind of vague.
Yep.
What does your business look like when it's finished? It's a dedicated dog training site and a team of well-trained staff in both businesses.
There you go. One's local in the store, and then one's more of the training, which I guess can be nationwide. They said Michael said he's got plans to add multiple new stores across, spread the stores out. But then obviously, I suppose the training business, I guess that could be nationwide. I suppose if
I guess it could.
We'll find out. And then, that's pretty much the top and bottom of it, isn't it? Right, amazing. And I know he's got some questions as well, which we'll get into. Right, I think let's bring him on and get straight into this. Let's do it.
Before we do our paid media mystery.
There you go. See, he's tearing me up, so I don't forget. There you go. Yes, I actually wasn't going to forget. I was going to.
Okay.
I was saying to myself,
make sure.
Don't forget paid media mystery. Don't forget paid media mystery.
Yeah, but when you get into it.
I know, I can't help myself. Michael, are you there?
Yes, hello.
There he is. Right, Michael, very warm welcome to the Grow with Evergreen podcast. Delighted to have you on, my friend. Just give us 30 seconds. The businesses, over to you.
The business, we've got, obviously, as you said earlier, we've got Animal Crackers based in Petersfield in Hampshire, single store. It's been going for many years. We've owned it for 10. We've sort of developed it on, changed with the changing climate of types of customer, where people spend, all that good stuff. And then marketing with that also going through COVID. There was a big dynamic change as well with what sort of client base you get. So there's been a lot of evolution, bringing it forward to the modern world and focusing very much on pet nutrition, but proper pet nutrition, not the supermarkets and internet stuff. And then we have obviously Cantons Field Focus, which has been under the radar for quite some time because we've been spending a lot of time building that to a really good, strong, prominent point before we then launch it into the public ether, which it now has just become.
Good stuff. Love
Very
that.
nice.
There you go. Right. Well, before we go any further and we dive into your marketing challenges, as a first time, I think
made
ever,
my day.
you know what we've got to do? It's that time.
It's time for a paid media mystery.
Come on, baby, hit me with it.
It's time for another Paid Media Mystery, the segment you all know and love, where I ask Aaron and our guest an industry-related multiple-choice question so that you can all play along at home as well. Of course, this question today is about the pet industry. And, I've actually gone for something slightly different.
Okay.
In that I've gone for something a bit more... I'm going to say a tiny bit more complicated, and you'll see what I mean in a second, but it's still the same format that we all know and love.
Okay.
Basically, my question for you today is, out of the 4 following pet-related ad hooks, in terms of text and sort of dialogue, and which is the most clicked, which has the best click-through rate? So out of the 4 following hooks, which I'm going to tell you, which is the best click-through rate? So the first one is, your pet deserves the best. So that's A. B, healthy treats, happy tails. C, vets recommend this. And D, 80% of pet owners are missing this. So I will give you a little hint.
Good. I like this.
I'll give you a little hint in that I will tell you what each of those are in terms of category of type of hook.
Okay.
So the first one, your pet deserves the best.
Yeah.
That's an emotional appeal.
Yeah.
Second one, healthy treats, happy tails, is benefit led.
Yeah.
Third one, vets recommend this, is authority and trust.
Sure.
And last one, D, 80% of pet owners are missing this, is curiosity and a bit of FOMO as well.
This is good.
So
I'm loving this one. This is very good.
This is for both of you.
Michael, what do you think as our resident expert?
Unfortunately, I would say, and I hope it's not, but I think it probably will be, C. And you hit an interesting point. You said, authoritative led. It's a great shame because the pet industry, many people don't know, that big side of the industry with these big vet franchises and then the food companies, it's a bit murky water, to say the least. So yes, I think it will be C.
The vet
we can get into the murky side of that later, but yes, but I would say C.
Just run through them quickly again.
Your pet deserves the best, which is emotional appeal. Healthy treats, happy tails, which is benefit led. Vets recommend this, authority and trust, or 80% of pet owners are missing this, which is curiosity and FOMO.
Yeah, I would say C or D. Okay. I think because people are curious. I think I'm going to side with Michael on this. I'm going to play it safe and go with the C because I think people do love is that thought. Oh, the vet recommends that, isn't it? It's the same. You get it on all sorts. It's the dentist with the toothpaste. It's all of the same sort of stuff, isn't it?
So I can reveal, and I think Michael, you'll be happy about this. That you are both incorrect.
Oh, interesting.
And it's actually so A, B, and C.
If it wasn't C, I'd thought A, but
A, B, and C have roughly the same click-through rate of about 1.68%. D, which is 80% of pet owners are missing this, curiosity and FOMO, has about 2.3% click-through rate. So it is actually D. I said 80% of pet owners are missing this. The curiosity and FOMO that has most people clicking through.
Yeah, that does, which makes sense because people, and that's why I said, it was either going to be C or D because
no one likes to miss out.
It is. It's that FOMO, isn't it? It's what am I? Yeah. Okay.
I think it's why in other industries, maybe not so much in the pet industry, but you see
it's
a
nice
lot.
To hear, though.
It is, but nice. I think it almost ties in with a bit of like UGC, because when you've got people sort of showcasing a product and they're using it and they look like normal people, it really emphasizes that could be me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I don't want to miss out. I don't want to not be the person who's using that. I don't want to be the person who's using the wrong pet food. So. There you go.
I like it. Very good. That was a good one.
Paid media mystery.
Very good. I love it. Thank you, mate. Right. Okay, Michael, let's get straight into these marketing challenges because we were talking before we came on air and you've obviously got the long-standing pet store. You've got the new Cantons in terms of that's the new kid on the block as a brand, but you've been doing it as yourself for many a year.
Yeah.
You put the overarching marketing challenge is just increasing brand awareness. Do you want to just expand on that? And then I've got some key questions for you.
Yeah, I mean, really. So brand awareness. I see it a lot. you've got a few people who work a lot in that industry, and it comes for me. I might be different to other people, but it comes down. As an independent business, rising overheads, budgets is a thing we have to be absolutely meticulous with. So if we're going to look to pay for advertising to create better brand awareness, well, I have to really think if I'm paying for brand awareness, what it's costing me to do as a percentage, what will that return be purely on the money spent to raise more brand awareness? So something that we do is try to do that organically at no cost. And actually, I forgot to say in the pre-record, pre-questions.
Yeah, sure.
The one thing I would suggest to any independent physical retailer, one thing we've done, we actually get paid for brand awareness, which is we're what you call, we're also a UPS access point, and this is a fantastic way for anybody. You basically, customers can come in, drop off a UPS parcel, and the UPS people can drop them off too. What that does is we end up on UPS and Amazon. We end up on their listings if people are doing returns and stuff. And people, even if you're not going to use us because we're not close by,
sure,
people see the word animal crackers and they think, "What the hell is that? That's interesting. I've got an animal."
Sure.
And the algorithm boost that does in Google for brand awareness and positioning us at the top is fantastic, because we are constantly being clicked on with people looking to do returns through Amazon or UPS.
Sure. That is a lovely. That's a nice little hack. That I like.
It
There
really
you go.
is,
That's
and
a
you
nice
get
little
paid
hack.
like 30p for a package. So
yeah,
you
it's not
get
that, but
tons.
it's not the benefits.
No,
Oh, so this the
100%.
association and the fact that people are going to be popping in to drop off. I didn't know you were here. That's a really nice little hack.
Everyone comes in for a package, and most people after COVID now have dogs, which also makes the other side of the business very busy, because that came with a whole world of problems. But yeah, people come in, drop off a parcel. Didn't know you were here. I now know you're here. Also, I'll grab a bag of treats while I'm at it. Thanks.
Gotcha.
Good service. We'll come back more.
I love it. Very smart. Now, so in terms of, and I totally understand, you're not, in terms of the you're not spending any money on ads and stuff like that. Fine. What are you doing to market both businesses then?
So we use Facebook and we use Instagram. We obviously we're with the Facebook, within our area. We join lots of local groups. So when we're doing a posting, we can, for free, we can share that posting and share it out to all those groups within the local area, so villages, towns, and stuff like that.
Yep.
We also will do so yes, this is technically a cost, but it's at absolutely bare minimum. We might get a couple of different products in on test, like we'll buy in, and we can then issue little things out to the community, whether it be free sampling or whether it be a little competition through a post and questionnaire sort of thing. Do stuff like that, just to basically try and encourage people to share it and like it and click it on, because obviously once I'm not, you guys are the experts, but once you get a post, you get something gets moving, and humans start moving that thing along, when the algorithms pick up on that, because they see it's a popular post, it will start pushing it itself. I might be wrong there, but I think I'm along those lines.
A high tide raises all the boats, right? It's there's
exactly.
absolutely some a correlation with if people engage with it. I mean, it's called social media for a reason, right? It's
exactly.
so that it makes sense. But in terms of, so you're doing some group stuff, you're posting, etc., fine. Outside of that, and I'm thinking, the one question I did have is, obviously the store is operated within a set area because it's bricks and mortar.
Yeah.
The dog training, is that also localized?
It is and it isn't. So we can, we obviously, there obviously is an extra cost to the client, and we obviously we'll have a brief with them depending what their issue is and where they're based and stuff, and that's obviously a case by case basis. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we can effectively go anywhere to deal with any dog.
Fine. But for the most part, is it within a set rate? Do you tend to find that you're mostly within, half hour, an hour, something like that? Or
yeah,
not really?
Mostly within a half-hour ring. We do also, with this newly launched side of the company and the official training side of things, we do offer sort of Zoom conference consultations as well, because there's a fair amount of work you can get through just a consultation without seeing the dog, because, and again, we can get into it later, but it is pretty much we're dealing with the owner, not the human, not the dog. The dogs are pretty good. It's just the human who needs some help.
And so I've got a few ideas in terms of what I would do if these were my businesses. So the store, if we look at Animal Crackers initially, so the store, it's localized, that in terms of footfall into that store and where you're located, are you in a prominent location? Are you getting much passing trade? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so on the face of it, some would say we're stepped outside. So we're in Petersfield, but we're on a street called Dragon Street, and it's in Petersfield, but it's not in the centre. One of the reasons for it is the shop front's really good. It's got parking outside, because obviously you have heavy sacks of dog food and stuff to lift and shift. For customers. But for us, more importantly, we get lower business rates, which is very important. Anyone listening who has bricks and mortar will know all about that. But also, we have the two main vets of Petersfield to our left and to our right. So we have our exact target market passing us every single day, but we are not in the centre. From the centre of Petersfield, which isn't a massive town, we are probably about a sort of 5-minute walk.
Fine. Okay. Localized, ads is one way, when you're doing organic stuff in terms of, that, which is good. We're big advocates of, push out organic stuff, show the behind the scenes, showcase products, and just documenting that on socials is great.
Yeah, exactly.
And then putting a localized spin on it a bit by tapping into all the local groups. Like, yes. Do all of that makes absolute sense. Local, as and when you get the business to a size where you feel that you can, super localized ads should absolutely give you a really good return, because what you're going to do if you use the back end of Meta to run very targeted ads, you can put a location on it. You can say, look, we only want to do Petersfield and 5 miles or whatever you want to do.
Right.
So you can do a super localized campaign, and then you'll win or lose with Meta because it's so visual with the creative. It's very simple. So what you would want to do, the prerequisites to be able to do it are: 1, I only want to show ads to a very, very local audience. And 2, you're going to want to have a mix of creative. So you're going to want to have, some product-based creative. You're going to want to have some storefront-based creative. You're going to want to have some sort of UGC style, day in the life type stuff. Maybe you do a bit to cap. You're going to want to have a lot of different types of creative. You feed all that into the system and you say, hey, just basically grow my brand awareness. For you, I wouldn't be optimizing for, conversions or any of that sort of stuff online. I would be optimizing for just brand awareness, because it's so localized. And I would do it over, do you know what? I'm going to do it over a 3-month period. I'm going to put in, £5 a day sort of thing. I wouldn't go huge. I would start very modestly, £5-10 a day.
Reasonable,
right? You do that, and you're only going to show ads to a very localized audience. You're going to have different creative with different messaging, highlighting different products, all the key information your customers are going to want to know: that you're open 6 days a week, 7 days a week, your opening times, all of that good stuff, that you've got this range, that you cater for dogs, cats, birds, like all the key information someone's going to want to know. I would run it for 3 months, and then I would judge the success or not of it based on money in the till. So you'd look at it and go, well, in the last year or two, based on, Q2, Q3 on the year or whatever period, we typically turn X amount on a weekly, monthly basis. Have we seen a noticeable upshift in both revenue, but also footfall, into the store? Can we feel it? And you don't have to get too scientific about it.
For sure.
Can you sense and feel that? And I think you'd get a good sense of, are you getting in front of the right people and driving increased footfall into the stores? That's a very simple play.
Makes sense.
That's for the pet store. I don't think it needs to be overcomplicated. That's what I'd be doing, And for anyone that's got a super local business, that if you're, doing a few 100,000 and you just like, we've got a few clients where they're super localized and they're just like, I just need to get that brand awareness. I just need more people to know about us, because I know that our people 5 minutes down the road don't know we're here. And if I could just do that, and that's where a Meta becomes incredibly powerful, because it's so visual. And you can do such hyper targeting to say only show it to the to people within a set radius.
Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah. Really interesting.
Yeah. And I think so. I think that from the store, I think it's really simple. I think I wouldn't overcomplicate it. I would just do that. Once you do that, if you sort of do it for 3 months, 6 months, you sort of go, oh, okay, I'm feeling this. You've invested, a few £100 into doing that. And I would probably do it yourself, to be honest. You could get someone to set it up for you to make sure it's or you could just spend a few hours on YouTube and swat up and then just do it. You almost need to dip your toe and run that.
I think, dip your toe. I think that's something I need to do. And sort of, like I said, just set that aside, go, what, let's give it a go. And then watch the results and then make an assessment. Yeah.
But I think don't overcomplicate it in terms of thinking, I need to make sure I've got, all of the conversion based stuff. And I just keep it really, really, the thing that prevents some people from doing this is that they're scared of, well, actually, how, where do I even start, or this, it's so technical, I've got to do this stuff. But actually, if you just start really in a small way, keep it really simple, go, what's the overarching goal of this? I just want to increase footfall into the store. And then we'll see what that does. If you do that for 3 months and you sort of go, well, yeah, do you know what? We're up a good 20%, in terms of turnover. We're this and the other. If you know that and you can see that, then you can sort of think, right, now how do we dial it a little bit more? That's where you might go, right, I'm bringing in someone to sort of just make sure I've done things properly. And you can also then look at, well, can we, do some retargeting to stay top of mind? And it gets a little bit more involved, but I wouldn't be worrying about that initially. Right now, it's just I would come up with 6-8 key messages for you as a business that people ask. Those things like, when are you open? What do you sell? All of that. What brands do you stock? Is it just food? Is it, toys? All of that stuff. I'd be tapping into the creative, mix up the creative with some still imagery, some photography, some product-based stuff, some UGC stuff, maybe a couple of videos. I'd do a little, and you could record this on your phone. I would do a walkthrough of the store. Animal crackers in Hampshire, in Petersfield. They come for me, outside the front door, selfie style, walk through the store, little 20-second video. Job's a good one. Simple. Keep it super simple. Before we go any further, are you enjoying today's episode? If so, you'll love our other show, Tea Talks. They're short, informal chats where the Evergreen experts and I share actionable nuggets on all things paid media, creative, and digital strategy that we use daily when growing our clients' businesses. And best of all, much like this podcast, it's completely free. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, see the link in the description. Now, let's get back to it. Now, if we move on to... Does that make sense? Any questions on that before I move on?
No, I think, keep it simple, stupid. That's the name of the game,
analogy, my friend.
Absolutely.
Right. The other one I think is really interesting. And so now if we move on to Cantons Field and Focus, this is the dog training and psychology business. Mm-hmm. Just before I go into what I sort of recommend, you mentioned that there was 1 or 2 stories. Have you got any, what was the one you were telling us about Saffron, your dog and stuff? Just share that, because I think for our list of viewers, everyone loves a dog. Just tell us some of the stories, because obviously you do the training. You must have some,
Saffron, we've got Saffron, the mini Dachshund. We've got 2. We've got Digby, who's a black Labrador. He does a lot of gun training. He does rehabilitation therapy for other dogs.
Okay.
So he's like our more serious dog. And then we have Saffron, also serious, but Saffron she works in the TV and film industry, and she's a mini Dachshund. Okay. And when I say mini, she really is. She's about the size of an Evian bottle, like the 1 litre one. So she really is quite teeny.
Okay.
She's brilliant. And she has her own agency in London, Urban Paws. Actually, they're absolutely fantastic team, and we did a job recently where it was for a property company, and we had an hour and a half she needed to be on set for, and they were these brand new sort of homes for new buyers, quite small, beautiful homes, really small, really well done, and we were called to sets, and this casting house was just rammed full of people, directors, screens, lighting, film crews, photography crews, people like all up the stairs being quiet, guys with scripts, actors, and it was hysterical. It's great to see the respect, but it was so busy. And then as Saffron, this, like I said, this little walking Evian bottle wanders onto set, the entire room just falls totally silent, and everyone suddenly almost looks like they're on their absolute best behaviour because Saffron's here, and she's this teeny little thing, and it always makes me chuckle when we end up on those sorts of sets.
That's amazing. That's so. I can picture that as
the smallest thing commanding the utmost respect from all these guys, professionals who are, before we come on set, they're all very serious, talking to each other,
sure.
Yeah, and then Saffron appears, and they just
the room for sight. Well, clearly her reputation precedes her, right?
Absolutely,
Clearly,
yeah.
And has she done so? I know obviously you can't name specifics, but she said she's in TV and film. And like, will our viewers have seen her in anything in terms of? Is she doing?
Yeah, she might be making her way to a couple of adverts this year. No films have been on the go at the moment. But she should be out now. Persimmon Homes, they're a
Okay.
property company. So if you see a little mini Dachshund in any of their websites or the TV ads they've released, that's young Saffron, and that is being circulated still because it was a relatively recent job.
Okay, amazing. I mean, wow, and because you said that obviously some of what you do for this training, so this is really fascinating. So you said you do some like gundog training and all sorts of things, but it's not, gundog training is not just because people don't like
No,
guns, but that's
100%.
not,
Obviously,
it's just about obedience and getting them to understand, all of that, isn't it?
Yeah, good gundog really is just. I mean, obviously, there are a few extra bits they have to do, but ultimately, it's just a very much amplified version of a very well trained dog. We all like different things. If people are not really interested in sort of country sports and rural communities and that sort of side of things, it doesn't mean you can't gun train your dog. It's not all about picking up dead birds and whatnot. Gun training is, you start with dummies. It's all about really, really good obedience, the bond between you and your dog, working together. So going left, going right, going back, going over, going in.
Sure.
Teach them to stop out in the field, and then move on to a certain location, to hunt a location, to find the dummy. And a dummy is just a canvas weighted object, basically, which
Right.
represents sort of the weight of a pheasant, for example. And yeah, instead of, if you learn this with your dog, instead of just going for a walk, you can go out with some dummies and just work the dog. And you are stimulating the dog mentally and physically, and you're developing your bond with the dog because you and the dog are working as a team to pick up said dummy and then complete the task in hand. And it's just a great thing to do. That's just a bit more than just a walk.
I see. So I love it. I think it's fascinating. I'm not. Are you? Dan, you haven't got a dog, have you? But you are as a family.
I grew up with dogs.
You grew up with dogs.
Yeah.
I never did.
I had
a
German
cats.
Shepherd.
Still are cats.
German Shepherd, Labrador. My mum's now got a Bichon Frise.
I have no idea what that is. I think you did show me actually.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we were in the car, weren't we? A few weeks ago. And we were talking. I don't know why we were talking about pets. Why are we talking about dogs? Well, we were talking about it, and Darren was reeling off. Oh, this.
I was showing him. I
said one day I'd love to get a dog.
I was telling you a whole sort of encyclopedic knowledge of all the different
you really were. You were Googling all of these. You were like, you could get one of these. What about this? What about this one? This one's good. Oh, don't get this one. Do this. Not a clue.
My favorite though is as I said to you, it's the Labradoodle and the Golden Doodle, which is those two bred together makes the double doodle.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, genuinely.
Amazing.
Double
Michael,
doodle.
what are your what are your sort of favourite dogs? How many dogs do you have? What are your favourites?
Oh, well, that's a controversial subject. I'll be triggering all sorts of people.
We get hate in the comments and all sorts.
Dog breeds is a very interesting topic. Obviously, I won't waffle on. I mean, you've got to be honest. Any dog, it doesn't matter what the reputation behind the dog is. If you mess the dog up and there's incorrect communication, leadership skills, you will get. I've seen Labradors which are dangerous and will bite. Right. I've seen so and they're seen as quite a bomb-proof dog. But typically speaking, your Labradors are pretty bomb-proof. Any dog really. I mean, your Rottweilers, Dobermans, Staffies. Again, some breeds that people are a bit cautious around. They're some of the most biddable dogs you can be around. Rhodesian Ridgebacks, fantastic again. All these dogs are good. One thing I would say to people, and one thing that is tricky, is types of breeds attract types of people. And for example, a cockapoo, which is I end up in front of a lot of people with cockapoos, and the reason for this is cocker and poodle. Cockapoo as a breed, that's a very advanced breed, and it typically attracts a very novice owner. As a rule of thumb, I'm stereotyping here.
Sure.
And when you mix that together, you can end up with quite quite challenging leadership skills and communication skills. And if that breaks down with that breed, then you get all sorts of reactivity, anxiety, and
Right.
behavioral problems as a result. But I think my favorite, mini Dachshunds, obviously Dachshunds. It's the translation for that is Badger Hound. They were originally bred to go down a badger. I'll have a scrap with it and pull it out. So it gives you an idea of the tenacity and sort of mindset of that dog. Obviously, Saffron is a mini Dachshund, and she would be a snack for a badger. But they still think they are that big tough hound, and an actual full size Dachshund is quite large. But they're again a hound, a fantastic breed, but it's an advanced breed. As long as you are a strong, confident, calm leader, you will get the absolute best out of a dog that has just full of character. And then your Labradors are always good fun. Your Retrievers, your flat coats, Spaniels are great. Again, Spaniels, working cockers, all good dogs. They're working stock, working mindsets. As long as they're stimulated and they're led well, fantastic. And then your larger breeds, your Ridgebacks, your Dobermans, Rottweilers. They're all Huskies as well. But again, Husky, very strong working dog.
Sure.
All these dogs are fantastic breeds. All I'd say is you make sure you think about your lifestyle before you buy a dog. Make sure you understand the breed you're buying. For example, a Malinois, Belgian Malinois, that's probably one of the most. That's basically a furry weapon. It's one of the most intelligent breeds there is, exclusively used by UK Special Forces. They are an absolutely phenomenal animal, but they are a very specific breed. So you need to think long and hard about the type of breed you're buying before you buy it, and how that fits in with your lifestyle and your family.
Am I right in thinking that a poodle used to be used as a water dog?
Yeah, they did. Also, alongside Labradors as well. Labradors they were bred to literally work with wildfowl and get them out the water. And they are phenomenal creatures. Digby, my lab, he weighs 30 kilos. He's gone into cold waters and brought out wildfowl that is big, and the strength these guys have, and the way if you have a Labrador or a poodle, if you spread their paws, just going between their claws, you'll see their paws are webbed, and it makes them sleek through the water.
Amazing. Right. Do you know that little segment there is really informative and brings me perfectly onto what my overarching recommendation for this business, for the training one specifically, YouTube. This has got YouTube written all over. Are you doing much?
Absolutely.
Are you creating content? Are you doing videos, educating customers, just sharing what and why and how, and all of this knowledge you have? Are you sharing much of that?
Yeah, it's something that, in terms of visuals, videos, production, stuff like that. There are things that are currently sort of inbound in that way, in the pipeline. Can't really talk too much about it. What we do, the cases I take on, the variety of cases we do, and also my approach. I don't do treats, I don't do clickers, I don't do harnesses, I don't do tricks, I don't do all these bits and bobs. It really is a deep dive on the dog, the psychology of the dog, coaching the human. And it's certainly now it's freshly launched, but it's already pricked up a few ears. And we've got quite a few people. We've got a lot of interest in terms of people wanting to take this into a much more visual watching.
YouTube
genre.
is an absolute. That is the answer to your question. How do you raise brand awareness? It's a YouTube play. It's an education play. This people would lap this up in terms of the it's everything you're describing on the pod in terms of what you do, how you do it, your approach, your philosophy to it. It's showing the examples that you're working on, and bringing that to life. This is the dog. This is what we're doing. Like if you can document all of that, amazing. But in addition to that, it is just the walking and talking pieces. It's you just in front of a camera. This has got all the hallmarks for me of being this is like a brand piece that you front and you just educate, and then you're out there and you're just sharing all of this knowledge, this expertise, this experience, walking through, giving people tips and tricks, and tapping into it from a YouTube perspective. I mean, let's not forget, YouTube is the second most popular search engine in the world after Google, and the number one search term on Google is the word YouTube. So YouTube is so visual, and everyone loves watching pets and animals and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I would be looking at that and thinking, what are the questions and the topics that people search for, and then creating content that taps into all of that, and then educate first, and then off the back of it, you're just placing. This is about placing yourself as an expert, isn't it?
Yes. We start. You talk about we've so on our Instagram, which is relatively new. You can hop over and take a look at it. We've exactly all those visuals, and I've had quite a few people contact me saying they absolutely love the variety and the visuals and the videos and the clips, because it's just nice. It's nice to watch. It's like look at why Clarkson's farm is so successful.
Exactly that.
It's lovely to watch a farm. It's just nice. It's easy.
It's so good. But also you could also do with Instagram. Yes, 100% do all of that. But with YouTube are really pushing shorts right now, aren't they? So short form content for this to lead into the longer form stuff where you can really build the know, like, and trust and really tap into it. That is an absolute no-brainer.
To give some insight, our YouTube shorts have in a very short amount of time, sort of overtaken all of our other platforms.
And they're YouTube. I mean, everyone, all these platforms are all going after each other's lunch. So YouTube's looking at what Instagram's doing. Instagram's looking at what TikTok's going longer form. YouTube's going shorter form. They're all going after each other's lunch. But what that means for us as business owners is if we create the content, one piece of content can be sliced and diced and then pushed out across these different platforms, and you'll just capture massive traffic and place yourself as an authority. That is 100% the play I would be doing with this business. And then I think if you want to supplement that with some super targeted local ads for the store, that's only can be a good thing. If you start at £5-10 a day, run it for 3 months, see what that looks like after 3 months of doing it. If you've had a noticeable increase in ad spend, and you've only would have spent a few £100, that's the play for this. I don't think you need to overcomplicate it.
I failed to mention, because it's something my PA's just started booking me into. We're starting to do a number of local presentation, demonstration Q&As in the area, and if one of which we haven't got a date for, but keep an eye out. I will be doing an evening over at the Half Moon pub in over Petworth Way, which my good friend Jodie Kidd owns, and it's a beautiful pub. And we're looking to do the first one will be held at that pub. So keep an eye out.
And there you go. And make sure you record.
Come along and talk to us. And and yes, absolutely.
And when you do these things, make sure you record them. I would be having a camera.
That's what we're going to do.
Record all of that, because you can document all that and put that out on YouTube. That on Instagram. Oh, we're here. We're doing. It works. Amazing. Right. I know we're pushed for time, so we're gonna have to wrap this here. But hopefully you've enjoyed being on, Michael. We've loved having you. Fascinating, great businesses, and take those things and it sounds like you've got some things already in the works. Do those, keep in touch, and when you've got your YouTube up and running in full flow, do make sure you ping over to us. I'd love to check it out.
Absolutely, thank you so much for having me. It's been really, really insightful, and you guys, what you guys are doing is fantastic for all the sort of not knowledge. My bag is not what your bag is, so we all help each other, don't we?
Exactly. Well, that's it. We all got it. Exactly that. It's that's what we try to do. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Right, there you go. Well, that was Michael. He's a switched on fella, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
he knows his stuff.
He knows his stuff.
And all of that, what he was just going there without even thinking twice. All of that expertise. That's a true expert that knows their stuff inside and out.
There are so few of those in the world that they just don't need a script.
Yeah.
I will be complimentary here and say that you are one of those. The amount of times I don't need to use a teleprompter with you is astounding. But I've worked with a handful of those types of people before, but they are so far and few in between. So I think absolutely Michaal needs to get all of this on video.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Because just listening to him talk about those different breeds of dogs and their history. And
it's always the way we say this, is when you're a true expert at doing something and you know it inside and out. We had a client like this who we were talking, literally saw this week. And we said to them, and they were like, but I haven't got anything to film. What would I put on YouTube? What would I do? We had exactly this conversation with our client, and we said, but what you do to Joe Blogs on the street, to people that would buy your product is utterly, utterly fascinating.
Yeah.
Even the most basic thing of what you do. It's the same with this. It's like all of the stuff you just know, well, the different types of dogs and what and why and all the tips and tricks and how and all of that. That's just like, well, surely everyone knows that. No, you're the expert, so share it and people will find it utterly fascinating. Amazing. There you go. That's the play for Michael, 100%. Right, we've got to move on to the newest segment even of the pod. There is a knock at the doorbell.
That's a knock at the doorbell.
What does that mean? I never know what that means.
I think that means it's time for a paid media problem.
Come on.
Oh man, I got you down.
Here we go.
Paid media problems.
If you're wondering, yes, that does stay there all the time. Right, okay, we have got a chap called Tom. E-com business owner. I don't know what e-com business, but it's an e-com business owner. Our Google ads are getting more expensive, but we haven't. Our Google ads are getting more expensive, but we haven't changed anything. Why? Okay, where do we start? Right, how long have we got? Half hour? No.
Well, we do have a bit longer, actually. Look, you can spend a bit longer on this.
I think, blimey, our Google ads are getting more expensive, but we haven't changed anything. I mean, that's a common tale. Look, the history tells us that Google ads gets more expensive every year. There's never been a year where Google had across, certainly in our sector, it gets more expensive. So you almost have to, if you, as a rule of thumb, if you kind of anticipate that your Google ads are going to increase by 10% a year, you're going to have to almost spend 10% more a year to stand still.
See, that's interesting because I think not a lot of people are going to know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, written in black and white by Google saying, oh, by the way, we're going to put you. No, but if you look at your data and if you look at, all things, even, roughly 10%. If we look across our portfolio, we kind of have an assumption that you're going to kind of need to spend 10% more just to stand still. Okay. And that's driven. I mean, there's so many reasons why that's driven. Part of it is going to just come down to the CPC, so the cost per click will typically go up. Not always, but typically. But also, it's going to factor into the different types of campaigns. Google Ads is an auction. It's an online auction. Yeah. So the more that, I mean, it's interesting. What I'm going to talk about in the next episode is the Google's AI update. That's going to feed into some of this. But fundamentally, it's an online auction, Google Ads. So, and whether that's true, whether it's search or shopping or whatever. So really what you're looking at is, the more that businesses, your competitors, those in your space, maybe they're wanting to grow, you're wanting to grow, they are, maybe their SEO isn't working as well as it once did, or they're getting less referral, or their customers, so the customers of your competitors, like your customers, maybe they're not buying with the same frequency, or they're not buying as often, or they're not spending as much. So you and your competitors need to double down and think, well, we need to get more customers, or we need to encourage our customers to spend more. Well, if you as a business owner know and are feeling and seeing that, very likely your competitors are knowing and feeling and seeing that. What that means for a lot of small businesses, they go, well, we need to double down on our ads. What that in turn does drives up the price. So, Google increased the price. It's not Google sitting there. I mean, Google's partly sitting there going, right, we need to fill the coffers.
Money.
They don't make enough. I think that obviously plays a part. They're a commercial entity. They've got to keep their stakeholders happy. But the bigger picture of this is, it's driven by how competitive things are. Yeah. That's how things are driven. And so that's what's going to drive the price up. But if I look at all the years, I've been doing it, that speak to Matt and Lou, our heads of in the paid team, they've been doing it 15, 20 years as well. Yeah. And they too say, we've just seen that constant evolution. So unfortunately, why is it getting expensive? It's the nature of the beast. I think.
Is there anything they can do?
Well, I think the thing you can do, and something we advocate, is diversify away from having a sole reliance on Google Ads.
Okay, yeah.
I think, yes, is there ways within the Google Ads to sort of go, well, why is it happening? What can I do about it? I can't answer that unless I see the ad account. But beyond that, what I would say is, as a rule of thumb, we massively advocate that our clients understand their reliance on BEAR. So BEAR is the B is for brand, so understand what role your brand plays. E is email. Email is a massive channel, and we will be introducing that as a service later this year. There's a highlight for you. A is the ads, all thing ads, and then the R is referral, repeat, and recommendation. So all of the people that come to you go, oh, so-and-so recommended you too. Say again?
What about the S?
On the S as well. Yeah, well, I haven't decided. One of our previous guests did about adding the S, and I'm still on the fence with whether I add it in. But the S was like the search side, which is like the organic, which plays a role. I mean, there's also D for direct as well. I mean, where does it stop? It could be beards.
Beards.
It could be beards. But yeah, so I think we massively advocate don't have an over-reliance on any one channel. So if as a business, I think that, what I'd be looking at this business goes, well, as a business right now, how reliant are you on Google Ads? Because if you said, we're 80% reliant on Google Ads, okay, that in itself is a problem. What are we not doing across the other channels, both online and offline? What else could and should we be doing? And that's actually the topic of my Tea Break newsletter this week, was talking about, don't have an over-reliance on any one channel. Instead, make sure that you are, you have an omni-channel, a multi-channel marketing mix is the best way to see you through, and ensure that, yes, Google Ads is going to get more expensive. In terms of making sure you get the most bang for your buck, it's about making sure your ads are as optimized as they possibly can be. For that, get someone who knows what they're doing to have a look at it. Beyond that, the bigger picture for you as a business owner is think, right, how important is Google? How integral is Google Ads to my business right now? And if it's over a third, for any of our clients, if they have more than a third reliance on Google Ads or paid media in its entirety, we are actively telling them to dilute down their reliance on Google Ads. Even though we sell Google Ads, that we sell that for a living, we are saying, as a business, you are growing, your overall revenue is growing, your average customer value is growing. You need to focus on diluting down your reliance on paid ads, because you do not want to get more than 50% reliant on a channel, which you can manipulate to a point, but it's at the mercy of your competitors, the wider industry. There's so many factors outside of your control. Yeah. So there you go. Hopefully that answered it. Right. I think we're going to have to wrap this one up. It's been good fun. There you go. Not often I love an animal, like a pet brand.
Yes, same.
They're always good fun. Right. We've got a few more episodes we're going to be doing today. So for this one, we're going to wrap here. But make sure you tune in for the next one, because I will share a little insight into Google's big AI update. For now, though, we'll see you soon. Take care.
Hello, beautiful people. I hope you enjoyed today's Grow with Evergreen podcast. I want to ask you if you would like to be my next guest. We're looking for more home, garden, and lifestyle brands to join us. So if you're using paid media such as Google Ads and Meta Ads, if you're willing to be honest and open, and if you're wanting to grow online, then I think you'll find our podcast incredibly helpful for your business. You can apply directly via our website. Simply click on the navigation in the top right-hand side of the website and select podcast. Fill in the application and one of my team will get back to you. Best of all, it's completely free to join us on the Grow with Evergreen podcast. I look forward to helping you grow your business very soon.